Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Matty Media Cast with my lovely self of Burbsy, and the lovely, beautiful person to my right on the screen is Mr. 2 Matty J.
Yes, Lee. Hello, everyone. Hope you are all well.
It's been far too bleeding long. We've lost all consistency in the whole podcast situation, but you know, we'll get there. That's all I'm saying.
We move.
We will get there eventually. Not that much to talk about today, except the fact that we are definitely going to be reviewing the new Conjuring film, The Conjuring 3, The Devil Made Me Do It. Got some other few little things to talk about. I think we're going to talk about like the returns to cinemas and stuff like that. Obviously they've opened back up now. Us both being massive film fans, it's something we both like to talk about, as well as the fact that Matty works in one. So
yeah,
hell,
I do indeed.
Get your money's worth, boys and girls.
Right. Indeed.
So, obviously, also, of course, if anyone wants to bring up anything, obviously, you put that in the Twitch chat for us. We can talk about that. Obviously, everyone who watches on YouTube, post stuff in the comments and such and stuff like that, and we'll get that onto next week's. So I think we should start off with cinemas. What you reckon, Matty?
Cinemas have been crazy since reopening.
Yeah.
It's been absolutely hectic. The Monday that we opened was just so bad and so busy at the same time. I've never seen so many people flocking through a cinema door in my entire life. It was the busiest I've ever experienced it. And then along with the fact that on Saturday, we generated about 3,500 people in, which was the first Saturday that we opened.
Nice.
Yeah, we generated about 3,500 people, which a lot of people might not think that's a lot, but for reopening, it's hectic. It's just so crazy.
And when you add on the £10 ticket fee, money, money, money.
Here comes the money.
Nah, fair play. I've been once. I went to watch The Conjuring in the in Cineworld in Wolverhampton, which quite handily has been all redone during lockdown and COVID and all that kind of stuff, and it looks pretty damn impressive, if I'm being honest with you. Obviously, I don't know where people are from around, you know, who are watching, but I live in the West Midlands, in a, I want to say a nice town called Walsall, but it's not nice. In a town called Walsall, and the nearest one to me is Cineworld in Bentley Bridge in Wolverhampton. We went there, and yeah, they've added all like the 4DX cinema screens, super screens. Have done it all out. It looks pretty nifty, to be honest. It's really good. Can't complain. Yeah, get the popcorn going. Nice comfy chairs, super screen on. The Conjuring.
What about the nachos, not the popcorn?
Mate, popcorn is the one, and don't even at me, yeah. Popcorn is life. What, like, it's just a necessity. If you go to the cinema, you've got to have popcorn. At least, just even if it's just a small bag, you've got to have some popcorn of some sort. It's against the rules. It's against the rules.
Yeah. It's nachos for me. 2 cheese, 1 salsa. Oh, what a combination!
Welcome to the food podcast with Matty Ray.
This is how it all started.
Yeah.
All because of food. But
Mate,
yeah.
Life started because of food. Life.
Since reopening, I have seen 4 films, I think. No, 5 films. I've seen Godzilla in IMAX. Godzilla in IMAX.
I still need to see that again.
I've seen Quiet Place 1 and 2, and then I've seen Quiet Place 2 twice, so that's 4 films. And I've seen The Conjuring twice. Also, I've seen 6 films, but obviously,
technically only.
Yeah, technically it's like 4 because 2 of them I had already seen.
Yeah. I plan to go see Godzilla again before it goes. That one is just a necessity for me. As we spoke spoke about on previous podcasts. We still haven't done a review for that, which we need to.
Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, I have got a little list up of the films that are coming out soon. I don't. What are your thoughts about the latest trailers, Matty? Because if I'm being honest, the trailers that I watched didn't impress me that much.
It depends. It depends what film for, because like there's some films that I was impressed with, um, like Fast and the Furious. We were very hesitant on Fast and the Furious, but I can't lie, I'm very excited for that now. It does actually look
Now,
pretty good.
I am on the opposite side of the spectrum. I saw that the trailer they played before the Conjuring, and it looked completely fucking atrocious. I'm not gonna lie.
Can't wait.
I think
I
it looked
can't wait.
awful. There's the different scenes of like the one that sticks in my mind. Yeah, that it was a cut. There was some fucking building exploding, and you see Dom running on a building on the rooftop, and the CGI of him running on the building looked absolutely vile. It literally looked like it was worse than a cartoon. It looked awful. And instantly, like, I felt like shouting in the cinema, like, what the fuck is this? Like, it was just like, instantly I was like, nah, I'm not interested. Don't,
No,
I don't
you
want to
know what
watch
it
this
is.
anymore. I don't want to watch it now. The fact that they've brought Han back from the dead with no, you know what I mean, and the CGI is awful. I'm not interested.
I'm definitely gonna see it.
I mean, I'll end up watching it
And
just
then
because yeah, I'll end up watching it, but
you've got Nobody, which
I'm not.
I'm very excited for. Nobody looks fantastic.
Oh, that comes out 9th, in 3 days.
Yeah, it comes out in 3 days' time, which I will go and see. It's got a bit of a John Wick feel to it, which
Yeah,
I have to say. A John Wick kind of sort of taken vibe sort of thing.
yeah,
I'm excited for that. Um, what else? I can't think of anything else off
yeah.
the top of my head.
So what's on the list? There's the ones that are coming out soon. The 9th is obviously Nobody. The 11th there's a film called The Father, which
Oh,
I'm not
that's
100.
already
Percent
out for us.
Oh, is it? Oh, it says 11th of June on there.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
I don't know anything about that one, to be honest. I know there's one called In the Heights, which is a musical. Um, about Washington Heights or
Is that
something
the
like that.
Hamilton one?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Then
I've seen
obviously Fast Nine's out on the 24th. And then the 25th there's Supernova again, which I don't know. I didn't see the trailers for these. I know I
that. Yeah,
saw In the Heights, but I didn't see the other ones.
and then we've got a couple of weeks later, we've got Black Widow, which is going to be an
Yeah.
absolute nightmare for me. It's going to be disgraceful at cinema.
Yeah.
But there you go.
Gonna be
I'm ready
busy
for it.
with all the Marvel freaks going, oh my god, I see Black Widow, Scarlett Johansson. Ugh.
Happy. I think so.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm excited for Black Widow as well. To be fair, I was a bit hesitant, but I mean the trailer didn't give it bad looks. But
Yeah.
I'm not a really massive fan of Marvel, regardless. To be totally honest, like I
Yeah.
know that's very controversial to people, but I don't really care for it. Nor do I DC. But hey, ho, I'm optimistic. I'm sure I'll enjoy it.
I mean, I'm sort of the same. It's a bit of an unpopular opinion. I'm not that mad on Marvel films. Like, I do like them to an extent. Like, I'm not like mad on watching them though. Like, it doesn't necessarily excite me that a film's
Yeah,
coming out in there. Like, I'll probably watch it, and I'll probably will enjoy it, but I won't get excited for it. Like with Endgame and Infinity War. I watched Infinity War when it came out with my partner, and I was like, yeah, it was really good, but I'm not excited for the next one. Like, I'm not like physically like pumping to see it. Yeah, I don't know. It's like people, you get so much hate for not liking Marvel. It's unreal. It is. It's silly.
everyone's allowed their own opinion.
Yeah.
Not everyone's gonna like it, but hey ho, that's their opinion. But yeah,
Yeah.
let me
Although
know.
there's not a film on here. That I saw the trailer for. I can't think what it's called. What's his name's in it? Out of Deadpool. What's his name?
Uh,
Oh,
Ryan Reynolds.
yeah,
No,
Ryan Reynolds. Yeah. and he's a bodyguard.
or the hitman's bodyguard's
Yeah, that's
wife.
the one. Yeah, yeah. That looked quite good, to be fair. That looked interesting.
Yeah,
I like the fact that Samuel L. Jackson's in it as well, because he's just one of the OGs.
yeah, exactly. Um, yeah, like I say, I'm optimistic about a lot of the films that are being released.
Yeah.
Um, most, hey, we'll see. I'm sure we'll see.
To be fair, like for me, in at the minute, because of like the lack of actually being able to go, it's not necessarily the film I'm watching that I'm excited for. It's the whole experience.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? It's the whole feeling of getting there, getting your fucking tickets and your popcorn and your drinks, whatever, and then finding your seat and that feeling when the lights go down and the screen comes on. It's like, oh yeah, that's one of the best feelings going. That is, love it, absolutely
I love,
love it.
I love a good cinema trip. Um, it's always nice, dead calm and relaxing. Like like a lot of things, it's a place you go to
Yeah.
click off from reality and just
Well,
to
yeah,
open your own.
you completely shut off from the world, aren't you? Really, you turn your phone off. You're in a dark room with fucking strangers everywhere. You're all there for one common purpose, which is to watch this film, and then you shut out from the rest of the world, aren't you? You know what I mean? You don't know what's
Exactly,
going on
yeah.
outside until you physically open them doors. And if you go there in the day, the sunlight's blurring your face. You're like, I can't fucking see, mate. What you doing? Or it's pitch black, and you're like, where the fuck did the sun go?
Exactly, exactly. But yeah, like I say, just there's a lot of films coming out that I'm dead excited for. Um,
But, like, obviously, like, you will work in a cinema. I don't know like how often you work, like your shift pattern is, but
yeah.
does that kind of take away the feeling of going to the cinema? Like, is that like a little bit of excitement gone from it, or do you
Uh,
still feel the same way about it?
no, not really, because at the end of the day, like it's good being there because like you see like the excitement of like people coming back to the cinema and just the
Yeah,
feedback that you get given. Um, it's always nice. Like what one of the one of the good things lately is like Peter Rabbit's been one of the big heavy films for like families,
yeah,
and it's so nice being able to see like the parents and children coming out being that excited. Well, mainly the kids being excited to come see the film,
yeah,
and it's just like it's just so nice to see that we're not all sat around worrying about stuff again.
yeah,
Like it's just we're all focusing on getting a better planet now. So it's good. I know
yeah.
I went on a tangent there, but hey,
The whole old saying of keep calm and carry on.
exactly, exactly. Um, but yeah,
Um,
I've not enjoyed the busyness. I have to say,
no, I
it's
suppose
been
it's kind of a shock to the system. You're not being at work for so long.
exactly. Yeah, I've
Um,
been off for so long now.
so what was the Quiet Place Part Two like?
Fireplace too. I enjoyed it. I did enjoy it. Don't get me wrong. Um, this. I mean, I seen what they were doing, and I seen little hints that were being dropped. Um, but like it wasn't like alongside the first one, it wasn't a very long film. It was only
Yeah,
about an hour and a half, which like with a click of a finger, it went over like really quickly.
yeah.
Um, and I mean, it was good because I don't know if anyone's seen, but Killian Murphy's in the film now.
Oh yeah.
Um, yeah, obviously, if none of you know who that is, Killian Murphy's the main Peaky Blinder.
Boyhood with the Peaky
Um,
Blinders.
yeah, he's the main
Yeah,
Peaky Blinder out one of the films. Um,
trying to
and
dust
he
me
plays a
hat.
fantastic character in it. Honestly, um, yeah, it was fantastic.
Yeah.
The film was fantastic.
Rating
But
out of 5, just to piss people off.
two, 3. I'll give it a 3. I
Oh,
can't go any higher than that. I can't.
fair enough.
And if Johnny was here, he'd probably be tarnishing me right now because I want to see it with Johnny, and he'd probably be annoyed if he heard my opinion on it because he enjoyed it, and I did enjoy it, but
Johnny versus Matty outside the Odeon, Newcastle.
I can tell that it's going to be a film that's going to carry on.
Yeah,
You can tell. They've left it open for like another film, 100%.
yeah.
And if you're thinking of going to see it, do it, and then give me your own feedback on it because I'd like to know other people's opinions on it.
Would you class that as a good thing or a bad thing, though? That they've kind of set it up to carry on. Would you want another film in the series or not?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind another film. It's just a pain in the arse having to wait to find out like about the whole thing.
Yeah.
Because is anyone? Are you gonna go see it yourself?
Maybe.
Just because I'll be a bit
I mean,
hesitant
I'll
on.
put my hands up and say I ain't watched A Quiet Place 1, so I kind of need to watch that first.
So I'll just give everyone a quick rundown of basically what happens. So obviously
Spoilers.
it starts off where it's given a little overview of what happens at the very start, very start from day one, where a meteor is flying through the sky. All these aliens come out of nowhere. Initially, it starts in Shanghai, believe it or not. It starts in Shanghai. The attacks happen there,
China.
and then it spreads to everywhere, and yeah, it starts off where it shows you why like them coming to the planet, but it still hasn't gave a reason as to why they've came to the planet yet.
Hmm.
That's what I want to know. And then it just leads throughout the film of them like basically surviving and like trying to figure out a way to prevent the aliens coming back. And obviously, with people who have seen it, she's got like this earpiece, like she's a deaf lass. She's got this earpiece, and she realizes that the frequency that's building up from the thing has an effect on the aliens,
Yeah.
and yeah, she needs to find a way to like spread that around the world to show people that's how you prevent it. But yeah, I'm not going to say any more than that. I'm not going to bother because I want people to see it. That's just a little overview of yeah, The Conjuring.
Yeah. Now, pre-warning to people. This discussion will most likely contain a lot of spoilers. So if you do plan on watching the film, please either turn this stream off or look away now, pause the video and go watch the film, and then come back to it later. My overall rating to begin with was I was very pleasantly surprised. Me personally, I mean, I do like watching horror films, but I react very very badly to them. Like mentally, like I have like a proper like paranoia fear of horror films that will actually happen in real life. So me going into watch The Conjuring, I was like bricking it straight from the beginning. Like obviously I've watched 1 and 2, and obviously they were very scary, but this was a different kind of scary. Would you agree?
100%. Yeah.
It weren't like a necessary right that it was very story driven, which is I know it's quite different for the Conjuring series. It weren't reliant on just jump scare after jump scare after jump scare to try and scare people. Like it was a proper intricate storyline to it, which I absolutely really enjoyed. It as always, it's the whole based on a true story. As soon as that line comes out, you're like, what the fuck is going on? This I don't want this to happen to me. Now I'm scared. But yeah, we'll walk through with like what happened. So obviously it's based on is it the Warrens, isn't it? That's right. Yeah, the Warrens,
Yeah.
obviously Ed and
Ed and
Lorraine.
Lorraine Warren.
It starts off at an exorcism of a little boy called David, Which, to be fair, straight from the get go, the film just jumps into it. There's no, there's no, brushing off the edges. It's literally immediate. It's you're in this house. There's a little kid basically being strapped to a chair table, and the basically exercising this kid, and then they have like a break, because he's proper struggling, and he goes to bed, and his door tries to open, so he runs in the bathroom, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Which, to be fair, for a first scene of the film, it's quite frightening. He jumps in the bath, hides behind the shower curtain, and he looks up and he just sees a creepy hand on the shower rail, and then blood just starts coming out of the bloody shower, and he's screaming, and then he obviously gets grabbed by this demon off camera. You don't actually see it, but then obviously his dad breaks the door down, and he just starts attacking his dad. He grabs a shard of glass and just stabs his dad in the leg, and you're like, oh my god! And he's there trying to kill his dad, and it's quite an interesting scene, to be fair. Like, it makes you think, like, was that actually like what happened in real life? Obviously, I know like exorcisms actually do happen. It sparks the interest in your mind. To be fair, in my opinion, anyway. As much as it scares me and frightens me, I'd kind of love to experience it.
Oh,
That's a really weird thing to say, but I kind of would like to experience it, just to say I've had that experience. You know what I mean?
I mean, like, I don't personally want to. I don't want to indulge myself on an exorcism or get
Yeah.
no, never.
I mean, I don't want to get exercised myself. I'm not saying I want to get exercised myself. I'd just like to witness one.
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna get fucking haunted now for saying that. To be honest, you just see this door just open. Woof. But yeah, basically, yeah. So from the get go, it's quite intense. And during this exorcism, his body, like this 8-year-old David, his body starts to contort and all sorts, and like I think it's his sister's boyfriend kind of basically grabs him and speaks directly to the demon, "Take me instead," and then meanwhile, this little kid's basically trying to fucking stop Ed Warren's heart with his hand, isn't he? He's like, "Oh, I'll kill you, old man," or whatever. And Ed's basically having a heart attack on the floor, and he sees the fucking demon like transfer into the older lad, and then yeah, the kid's free, but the older lad's like fucked.
Yeah.
But
It was quite a fuck story, like, because like as soon as I had watched the film, I like immediately googled them, like all of
yeah,
it. I googled the case because I liked to see how close to the story it actually was in real life, and you'll be quite surprised. From what the film portrays is not as sincere as the truth. Um, there's quite a lot of. I mean, I understand why they've done it, but there's quite a lot of there's quite a lot of like differences between the first between the real story and the actual film.
of course, like, based on a true story, there's gonna be bits added in that, at the end of the day, they've got to sell the story. They've got to make it more appealing to viewers. So that they are going to add a lot of things in, but even still, personally, I think the most scary part of that film was the end credits, where they actually played the actual recording of the exorcism of David, like the
Yeah,
actual real recording of what happened, and I think that was the most scary part of the film. I mean, obviously we were sat there watching. A lot of people got up and left at that point before they even started playing, so a lot of people probably would have missed it. But yeah, we sat and watched it. and yeah, it was just haunting hearing like this, what you know as a little kid, like possessed by this thing. You can physically hear like in his voice, like that he's like taken over by some spirit. There's no way a child of that age would physically be able to create that voice that he made.
Exactly.
So yeah, that for me was the most frightening part of it. But yeah, like I said, the story was really good. The overall story of the film was that this family were cursed by Satanists. Basically, they hid like like a
Which is total.
small, yeah, witch's totem underneath their house. But the main Satanist, basically, she kind of made a deal with the devil. Obviously, she must have died and wants to come back to Earth for whatever reason, I don't know. But she basically promised to make this curse, which consisted of three people. So there was the child, the lover, and the what was the last one? The holy, or the spiritual. So obviously the child being David, the 8-year-old, he got possessed, but then obviously transferred to the older guy. I can't, Arnie, his name was Arnie.
Yeah, Arnie
Um,
Johnson.
then the lover being Ed and Lorraine got called to, what state was it? Was it Massachusetts?
Yeah,
They got called
yeah,
to Massachusetts on a similar case, and I think it was the chief of police daughter. She mysteriously went missing, and they found that she had also been given one of these witches' totems while she left university, went home, and then she was basically like possessed by this demon that made her jump off a cliff. Obviously, you see that in the trailer where Ed and Lorraine are on the edge of the cliff, and the demon grabs Lorraine's leg and pulls her down.
yeah,
Um, then obviously the holy or the spiritual was actually Ed. Ed Warren himself gets possessed by the demon because this Satanist sends witch's totem to their house, don't they? In a plant pot.
yeah. Exactly. Uh,
But
that fucking there was a particular scene in it that was vile. To be fair.
yeah,
Uh, so you go to a funeral home of the lass who died off a cliff, and obviously um Lorraine has an ability where she grabs someone by the hand, or if she grabs someone, she gets like sort of like a sense of the future and past.
yeah,
So
she has like a mental connection, doesn't she, with that,
yeah,
with what
she has
happened to
an
that
ability
person.
to see what happens in the past or the future, and they're in the morgue, like, and she's got a hold of this, like, the hand, because she's trying to find out where the woman is, or where the what's that big table called?
The altar.
Yeah, they're trying to find the altar, and this big fucking fat fucker like rises from the dead, who's obviously been taken over by the demon, and oh fuck me, it's
Yeah,
like
well,
something out of WWE.
obviously she's in like her vision, isn't she?
Yeah,
And the thing is that to break this curse set by the Satanists, they need to destroy the altar from where it was cast. So they need to find this altar and where this Satanist is hiding. And she's in this vision, and she can see that the Satanist is preparing another. She's basically controlling Arnie. She wants him to kill. Basically, that's the whole point of the curse. They need that the three people curse. They need them to kill some murder and then kill themselves, commit suicide.
yeah,
So obviously, the lover, the girl, she was with her friend or the girlfriend or whatever. They were obviously they were gay. They were running through the woods. She obviously killed her girlfriend, and then the demon made her jump off the cliff and kill herself. Obviously Arnie, early on in the film, he works at a dog's home with his girlfriend and I can't think of the guy's name. Do you remember his name?
Alan Bono.
Yeah, so he's the manager of the dog's home. He's quite drunk at the time. Obviously, Arnie's just been possessed by this demon, and he's kind of tripping out. He's seeing things that are weird, and basically, I won't explain the scene set on, but he basically stabs this guy 22 times, kills him, gets sent to prison, and then the demon spends a lot of the time trying to get Arnie to kill himself in prison, but they put him on suicide watch and everything, so he can't get hold of anything to kill himself.
He's called Bruno, by the way, everyone, but he's
Yeah,
actually called Alan in real life. It's
yeah,
one of the things that they changed. But yeah,
yeah.
continue.
Um, so yeah, Lorraine in this vision sees the Satanist creating the ritual to try and get Arnie to kill himself and hurt himself. So she starts screaming at the Satanist, basically bringing her to attention that she's there to to stop it. And then she discovers that this connection works both ways. So the Satanist can also make this connection to Lorraine. So the demon kind of brings back this John Doe to life, which quite handily is some fucking 7 foot, like, next level, like 30 stone guy, like completely massive unit of a person. And he's just like eerily standing there. Ed's trying to turn the lights back on and he's trying to wake Lorraine up out of this vision. And then this John Doe just legs it towards Lorraine to try and get her. So he, obviously Ed being a cripple at the time because he's just had a heart attack, he's got a walking stick. He's got to try and save Lorraine, which thankfully he does. And this John Doe just collapses to the floor and basically smashes all out everywhere. But there is also a scene later on where this John Doe reappears. When we find out that Ed's been cursed. Ed kind of wakes up. He has like a panic attack or a problem with his heart. He passes out. He wakes up in his bedroom, and no one's there. Like the house is completely empty. He walks downstairs. He finds a note. Basically, he thinks the Satanist has took Lorraine and his daughter away from her. Away from him, sorry. He turns around, the Satanist is there, she talks to him, says something and disappears. And then he turns around and this John Doe is at his front door and starts chasing him or whatever. So basically Ed tries to defend himself. He grabs a knife, goes to stab the John Doe, but something grabs his arm, and then he kind of wakes up out this vision, and he basically was about to stab Lorraine in the face. Which obviously that would have been next level. Kind of would have been horrific. Would have obviously murdered his wife, and then would have never recovered from it. Would have been god awful. But yeah, then it's the mission of them trying to find the Satanist because Lorraine basically found clues throughout that vision of where she was, and I was really surprised of how or where the Satanist was anyway, to be fair.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about that bit?
So obviously, eventually they do obviously find out who the person is. So halfway through the film, when they find the first witch's totem, they go and visit one of the old fathers. I think it's Father Grantham. I think that's his name.
He does
Let me
appear in
just
another film in the Conjuring universe, doesn't he? Is it the Nun? I've got a feeling it's the Nun.
quite possibly.
I'm pretty 90% sure he's in a different film. I'm sure it's the Nun.
Well, anyways, so obviously they go and visit a father that they've dealt with in the past previously. You visit him, try and get some answers out of him because they didn't understand the whole totem thing, and he's had experience working with Satanists
Yeah.
and trying to understand their mentality. Father Kastner, or whatever he's called.
Yeah.
And they eventually they eventually get some answers off him, and they explain that the totem's trying to like take over people, and that's where he explains. Obviously they go away and do whatever they have, what Matty explained, and then eventually Lorraine decides to go and visit him because they found this booklet that's got Latin in and explains stuff. She goes to visit him. She he explains that like about the reason why it might be happening, this, that, and the other. He eventually takes her down into the basement of his house. Not sus at all. Uh, takes him down into the takes her down into the basement, and then it's completely darkness in the room. And then he eventually fucking appears out of nowhere and turns on a lamp. It's that scared the shit out of me. Just fucking appears out
Yeah,
of
I was
anywhere.
expecting some shit to happen there as well, to
Yeah.
be honest.
And then he's got this like photo album in his hands, and he basically tries to explain where it all started, and then he shows her the photo album. She's going through it, and she eventually sees the woman, which happens to be Father Kastner's daughter. I don't. The thing is, though, I don't know if she died. Though that's the thing, though. I can't get my head. I can't get my head around it.
No, I
Uh,
mean, I can't fully remember if that was the case. I mean, I thought so. Because obviously, for whatever reason, she kind of made the deal with this demon. She promised the demon souls to go back to hell,
yeah,
which is why, things happen, and when she doesn't fulfill the curse, it's kind of she's sent back.
yeah, exactly.
Um,
Um, because what she done was is obviously she promised the devil a soul, is what she done. In return for whatever the hell she wanted. Obviously, like I say, Ed and Lorraine eventually find out who it is, and then it's just a big it's literally just like a big chase in the like tunnels.
yeah, obviously she finds out who it is. Obviously he talks, and then they hear the door upstairs open. Obviously all during this time, Ed's kind of clocked onto what's happening. Um, he's found out that she is in trouble, so he's like driving as fast as he can to get to her. But obviously, they know that this spirit. I don't even know. I don't think they tell you her name for that whole film. I'm not sure. But basically, the Satanist upstairs, so she's coming. So the father opens up like a secret passageway to some underground tunnels, which they use for storage or whatever, and it basically is where this Satanist is hiding. Um, and then
Eventually,
yeah, she obviously this Satanist comes downstairs. It's only her father there, and he starts talking. She walk. This bit frightened me, to be fair, because it's like one of the true like jump scares of the film. She kind of floats into the darkness. He starts to say like, "Oh, I've been a horrible father" or something, and then she literally like within a snip of the finger, she's behind him and she slit his throat. It's like, oh, what the fuck? Weren't expecting that at all. Wasn't expecting that
uh,
in the slightest.
yeah. And then it just leads into a fight in the basement. It's like Ed gets obviously either taken over because she appears out of nowhere and blows this like sort of dust into his eyes.
Yeah, she kind of like
Just like
cascades herself as Lorraine, doesn't she? He runs to
yeah,
obviously thinking it's his wife, and then she blows this sand in his face, and then
um,
he kind of gets taken over by this demon, and then he's physically trying to just kill Lorraine the whole time. He's got this big sledgehammer and he's trying to kill Lorraine.
yeah,
But like the heartwarming side of the story is that she's trying to talk Ed out of it, like snap him out of it, and he has like flashbacks of how they met and how they got married and all that kind of stuff, and he kind of like snaps out of this trance, and then they destroy the altar and stop the curse, and then
and
she comes back. This Satanist comes back. She's chatting shit basically, saying you've made a mistake, and then Ed basically drops the line and says, "Well, you promised the devil a soul," and then the devil appears behind her and poof, gone. And
Yeah.
everyone's just like, "Yeah, fucking yeah, come on!" I mean, I
Snaps
was.
her into
I
two.
go.
She was fucking hell. Like she was slapped. She was slapped left, right, up, down. Oh god, she was like, yeah, she wasn't coming back from that. She'd feel that in the morning. I tell you.
Get the
Um,
chiropractor on the phone ASAP.
yeah, fucking hell. Um, but like I say, it is a really heartwarming story. Um, because when I've been in the cinema and I've been interacting with guests and stuff and just explaining my thoughts on the film and stuff, they've been really inclined to go and see it.
Yeah.
And like, one thing I'll always tell people is if this stuff sort of interests you, then I'd recommend that you go and look up the file cases on the previous things that they've done. Um, you do actually have a website, believe it or not. Think it's called the Warrens.net.
If you got a link, mate, pop it in the Twitch chat.
Yeah, I think it's Warrens.net. Yep, it is. So, just for yous who are wondering, obviously Ed and Lorraine Warren are now unfortunately passed away. Um, and everything that they've undertaken and everything that they've done has now been taken over by Tony Sparrow. If you are wondering, is Ed and Lorraine Warren's son. He's taken over. He's got Annabelle, and that's who's actually got the real Annabelle now. Believe it or not, he actually
Ooh,
does.
sorry, it makes me cringe just thinking about it.
He does walk arounds of the actual museum itself, and they do actually like do like spirit readings
Mm.
with the spirit boxes and stuff. And they've actually got an official YouTube channel, which I'd massively recommend that you look at as well,
Mm.
because that's quite impressive.
I'll have to watch
And
some
the
of that.
thing is, when it comes to the Warrens cases and stuff, they've done they've done a lot of cases before, but there is currently there's 10 cases that made like worldwide headlines.
Yeah.
Um, and they have already done some of them. Obviously, they've done Annabelle, they've done the Devil Made Me Do It. They have, believe it or not, I don't know if you know this, they have actually done the Amityville Horror House as well. They have done flashbacks of the Amityville Horror House. Um, and it's quite interesting. I really recommend people click that link and go and read the cases because it's quite a thing, if I do say
Obviously,
so myself.
it's not for the faint-hearted. If you are scared and frightened of these sort of things, then I wouldn't recommend necessarily going and reading through all these kind of horror stories because it can have a negative effect on people. I mean, I personally have experienced it firsthand, where I've suffered with, like, I'd say, back is paranoia. Um, I've had many sleepless nights after being watching a horror film or something like that, and then I constantly play it out in my head that it's real. Like, for instance, I have a genuine phobia of clowns. Like, they literally frighten me to my bitter soul. Um, and the first time I watched it, um, because it was one of them, I was like, I'll face my fears. I'll watch the film. It's been very hyped up. I'll watch it. And the first time I watched it, I don't think I slept properly for about 2 days, 3 days, because I was just so paranoid that I was gonna wake up and fucking Pennywise was staring at me, and no, just makes me ugh. Yeah. Even so, like, when anyone just mentions the word Annabelle, like, my whole body just cringes. Like, oh my god, I don't want to know. I don't want to know. because that
It's
is
funny.
freaky as fuck. That is.
It's funny, because Annabelle. I don't know if anyone's actually read it before, but Annabelle isn't actually what they've made it out in the film.
No, I
Annabelle,
know it looks a lot different. The doll is not like true to character.
as Ed and Lorraine, well, mainly Ed describes it, it's a Raggedy Ann doll.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm very inclined to believe the entire thing about Annabelle because the fun fact, not a fun fact, it's quite a sad fact to be fair. Um, so back in the I know this because I've reading the forums and watching the videos that Tony's done since. There was two things that stood out to a lot of people, and Ed put like this a rope around Annabelle so no one could go up to the case. And because back in the day, he didn't used to have her in a cage. She literally used to be just on a seat with
Nah.
rope around her so no one could touch her.
Ugh.
And been two situations that have happened where someone has picked up the doll and taunted the doll. One of them picked the doll up, flung it across the room, and challenged it. He left the house, lamped his car into a tree, and was quite severely injured because of challenging it. And
Oh
then there was
god.
another one, a young couple go to the museum when he was doing the walkarounds. The lad done the exact same thing, picked up the doll, taunted it, and it said, "Do the best you can," and prove to me that you're real. And about 3 hours later, after leaving the museum, him and his girlfriend rode away on a motorbike, and he crashed the motorbike into the tree, and he was dead. And you can read this on the newspapers as well. That's on the internet. And his girlfriend was in hospital for over a year and a half because of how bad it was.
See,
So
that's just gave me goosebumps even just hearing about
yeah, the best thing is just doing challenge the devil because you don't know what the devil's capable of.
that.
The
Yeah.
devil has something that you don't, and that's the ability to see um you, whereas you can't see it. So
Yeah. I mean,
if I ever get a chance, I will happily go and visit this museum.
well,
I'd
Matty,
love to.
that's a challenge, mate. This is the Matty Media Cast challenge. Me and you will go together. We'll document the whole thing, and it'll be emotional. It will
Oh
be
my God,
emotional.
we'll come away absolutely taunted. We'll not be sane
We will
anymore.
never look
We'll
at
be
the
crying.
world the same again. But you know what,
Yep.
mate? It will happen. So, um, what, So this is gonna get like a little bit spiritual now because I mean, this is like a topic that I probably could talk about for hours and hours on end. Um, I greatly believe in I don't want to say afterlife, but in the supernatural. We'll put it that way, the supernatural. So
Mm.
like ghosts and demons and all that kind of stuff. I obviously it's well documented. I fully believe that it's a true thing that it does happen in the world. I know there are people that believe it's just a load of crap. But what do you reckon, Matty? Like, what's your kind of belief?
Nah, I'm on the same lines of you. I very much do believe it. Um, you're a fool if you don't believe it. Um, we've all got our own opinions, but with the documented proof that is around the world, like there's a lot of information to back it up. Like, as an example, why would a young lad, uh, the David Glatzel, why would he pretend to be possessed? Why would he pretend to talk the way he was talking in the
Yeah,
clips that you hear at the
but
end?
like I said, the clips you hear, there is no conceivable way that a child that is 8 years old could produce that kind of sound, that kind of voice that came out of him. There is no way. Like it
Yeah,
honestly gave me chills. Instantly gave me chills. I've been. This is what like you said. Like you, I don't want to say you're a fool for not believing it because obviously everyone's entitled to their own beliefs and stuff like that. But I believe that every person has experienced something supernatural at some point in their life.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got stories I could tell. Some I've dealt with directly and it happened to me, and then some have happened to people I know, like my dad. Um, we'll go into a story time. This is what we'll do. So, if anyone has got any sort of spiritual story of experience of a supernatural event, please let us know. I wanna read these out. I wanna scare the living soul out of everyone in here. So if you've got a supernatural story, let us know. Either put it in the YouTube chat, send it us on Facebook. Obviously the links are down below. If you can see, there's our Facebook, our YouTube, and pop them in the chat. I want to read your stories. So I'll go first. I don't know whether Matty's got any, but I'll go first. I've got a couple of stories I can tell.
I personally had none, but you can go ahead. And while you're doing this and telling everyone, I'll be 2 minutes.
Okay, so the first one I'll tell happened to me directly. I was about 17 at the time. I'm 50. Well, I'm not 15 now. I'm 25 now, so it was about a good 7-8 years ago. I'd just I'm not long left school. I'd started college. I was on a two days on college, 3 days off through the week. So I think I went to college on Tuesdays or Wednesdays. Irrelevant to the story. Anyway, it was one of my days off, and often because me being a teenager, I'd stay up all night, and I'd get up late in the morning. I'd sleep until about 9 o'clock, which it's not that late, but usually I'd wake up and my mum and dad, who obviously I lived with at the time, would be out shopping. They'd take my little brothers to school, then they'd go shopping for various different bits, food shopping, this, that, the other. So this one day I wake up at 9 o'clock. Normal day, I think I won't rush out of bed. Just chill, flicking through my phone, Facebook, whatever, the usual teenager stuff to do. And all of a sudden, I get a on my door. I'm like, "Hello, like, Dad, is that you?" Thinking like my dad's just thinking, "Oh, Matt, get up, you lazy, whatever." But then something clicked in my head, like I did not hear anyone come up them stairs, and the way my mum and dad's house is, the stairs they're not creaky, but they're quite loud. Especially my dad walking up the stairs, because he was quite a big gentleman. So if my dad was walking up the stairs, you would hear him. And then I thought, well, my mum, I would have heard my mum as well. So I was like, well, did Dad just creep up the stairs? So I opened my door. There's no one there. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Look in my mum's bedroom. Just in a 3-bedroom house. So I look in my mum's bedroom, nothing. Go into the bedroom opposite mine, which was my younger brother's. No one in there. So now naturally my heart's starting to race a little bit. So I walk down the stairs, open the living room door, and there's no one there. Look out the window, the car is gone. There's no one home other than me. So my heart honestly instantly starts racing 10 to the dozen. I get an instant wave of cold feeling across my whole body. Like, it was unexplainable. Like, it was so strange. Like, such a weird feeling came across my body. And then I instantly started to panic mode. Like, I didn't know what to do. Like, I was fucking literally, I don't know why. I ran straight back upstairs. I shut my bedroom door. I barricaded the door. I got my phone. I'm ringing my mum. I'm like, "Mum, what, have you just left the house? Have you just left the house?" She's like, "No, we've been gone for 2 hours." I'm like, "Oh." I was like, "Mum, get home right now." She's like, "What's the matter? What's the matter?" I was like, "Someone just knocked on my door." And she's like, "Nah, Matt, you're imagining it. You're dreaming." I'm like, "I'm not dreaming." I was like, "Someone has literally, word of a lie, not just a little knock. It was a boom, boom, boom." And honestly, when I say I have never never experienced anything like it again, fortunately for me. But it was surreal. That's the only way I can explain it. It was surreal, and it weren't a dream. It 100% happened to me. So it just kind of goes with my belief of the supernatural. Like, for 100%, there was something in the house at that time, and something knocked the door, which is fucking horrifying to think that I was alone in a house with something. It doesn't know. I don't know what it was. It could have been. It could have been just a ghost. It could have been like a relative of a ghost of a relative, just trying to get my attention. Or it could have been the unthinkable. It could have been like it could have been a demon or anything. Gladly, nothing happened of it. I didn't experience anything again of that kind of magnitude. But it kind of leads on to the next story I've got, which what didn't happen to me personally, but it did happen to my dad.
I
So
was about to ask.
yeah, I know. I didn't experience it firsthand, but I was there. It happened at night. I wish my dad was here to tell the story, to be honest, but um, my dad slept on the sofa quite regularly. Not because he didn't, not because he fell out with my mum or anything. It was just the fact that he was really protective. So he thought that sleeping downstairs in the living room, he was like in control of everything. But he basically he bought a new car, and he was so like possessive and protective of it because he spent a lot of money on it. He decided he was going to sleep in the living room from now on, so he could see it at all times. So nothing had ever happened. So that just happened for the rest of his life. He slept on the sofa until he passed away a couple of years ago. But he was lying on the sofa. This is how he explained it. This is how he told me. Exactly how he told me. He told my mum. He was lying down on the sofa. He couldn't get to sleep. He just had a feeling. This, like I said, these are his words, not mine. He had a feeling. He rolled over to like kind of look back towards the front of the living room. Like paint a picture. So the sofa was on the back wall. Then opposite was the window, like a bay window, and then the TV was in the corner. So he'd lie facing the TV and he'd fall asleep. He'd turn over. He'd roll on his other side. So he couldn't get to sleep. Like I said, he had this feeling. So he turned over. And this feeling sort of intensified. And he said he looked up, and he just saw this figure standing above him. And my dad was quite a strong-headed person, I'd say. I've never heard a man scream so loud in my life. We were all upstairs. It was probably about 9-10 o'clock. Woke us all up out of our sleep. Honestly, I never heard a man scream so loud in my life. He comes pulsing upstairs. He was ice cold to the touch. This is what my mum described it. He was ice cold, but he was sweating, but he was freezing cold. And my dad said he saw this figure standing above him, and then the figure walked through the wall into the next house because it's like a semi-detached house. But my dad swore blind that it weren't a dream. It genuinely happened. Obviously, the effects of it genuinely happened because my mum could tell you to this day that I have memories of my dad screaming and pelting up the stairs at fucking 200 miles an hour. Like I said, he was a big guy. There was no not hearing it because it was just there. It happened. I just remember my dad physically shaking and sweaty as hell. But yeah, definitely supernatural experiences that do happen. Like I say, I think everyone's experienced them in some form, one or the other. Excuse me, but like I said, if anyone has got a supernatural story that they would like to share, please let us know because it intrigues me. And we'll do like a section where we can read them out to people, maybe on next week's podcast,
Exactly.
or if you put them in the live now,
That would be a great idea, to be fair.
Yeah, we'd be
That'd
our
be
own little
fantastic,
ghost hunters.
Matty G and Burbsy, the new profound Lorraine Warren.
Yeah, fucking hell.
Matty and Warren. Yeah. Some freaky shit that. It's mental. Like if that doesn't make you think, then I don't know what will.
Even just little things, to be fair. Like, for example, the other day, I was streaming at the time. Actually, I was playing GTA, streaming, and my partner Shana she starts shouting at me. She's like, "Matt, have you just come in here?" I'm like, "No, I've been sat here streaming." Like, she said, "Someone's just turned the handle of the bathroom," and I was like, "Well, it weren't me, and my daughter's asleep in bed. Like, unless one of the cats have grown thumbs and turn a handle, like, like there's no conceivable reason as to why that handle has turned itself." So, in little things like that, it just makes you think, oh, what is out there? They could be here, they could be in your room, not to scare you. They could be with you, they could be sat behind you. You'd never see them.
Oh no.
I just want to see a face behind Matty's fucking head now because it's dark. Matty, turn the light on. Matty, turn the light on. Matty, turn the light on.
I don't know.
We scared him.
You could just say that.
No, but truly, I love the supernatural. It horrifies me to my bitter soul, but it's just something that interests me, and it's definitely one of like the world's unanswered questions. Like, it's up there with how did the Earth begin? You know what I mean? Like, how was the universe created? What is the meaning of the world? It's up there with that. No one can explain it, but you can't deny that it does happen. You cannot deny it. So yeah, check out that link Matty's put in there for the Warren Fall cases and stuff like that. And yeah, like if you've got any sort of paranormal story, little things like that, please let us know. Like I said, it intrigues us both, and we can make we could read them out on maybe next week's podcast, or we could do like a special feature at any point, to be fair. That'd be good with the the horror hour with the Matty Media Cast.
Yep.
Send us your stories and we shall scare the living shit out of all of you. I do love it. I remember like before, I'd play like PlayStation with my good friend James, and we'd be up till 3 a.m. just talking about horror stories like that, like ghosts and stuff like that. And honestly, it got to the point where we're like, well, I might as well stay on because I'm not going to sleep. I'm too scared. But to be fair, James is another one. James has got a lot of good stories to tell when it comes to like paranormal stuff. So we might have to get him on one of the days.
100%. Get the stories told. We're going to become paranormal hunters, by the way, guys.
It's another thing. Obviously, we're always looking to expand the podcast and look for different ways to improve it. So,
if you're about to tell the people that we're going to become paranormal investigators,
no, Matt, I ain't got the stomach for it. I have not.
I'm not kidding.
I've not got.
I'm not kidding.
No. I'll put my hands up, mate. I'm a wimp when it comes to this stuff. I would not do it. Like I said, I'd love to experience an exorcism, but There's the difference between me saying it and doing it. I can guarantee you I'd bottle it and not do it. I remember once, years ago. I think it was Christmas or New Year's. I can't remember which one. But anyway, we had all the family round. So we had, obviously my family, which was my mum and dad, me and my 4 brothers, my nan and granddad, and then my uncle and auntie. And I don't know who had the idea, but they decided they're gonna do a Ouija board. I was like, oh god, no, Lord, please. Obviously, the thing with the Ouija board is, I know, but technically I shouldn't be saying this because they are actually illegal. You're not meant to, you're not meant to do them. But they decided to do like a séance, and obviously for a séance to work, anyone who is a non-believer cannot be present, else it won't work. So I just remember my granddad he was a non-believer. He was like, I don't believe in any of it. It's a load of crap, blah blah blah. But my granddad was like a hard man, so he wouldn't admit it anyway. So he sat in the living room with us while everyone else was in the kitchen doing this bloody séance, and I don't know why, I was so intrigued that my ear was pinned to the door. Like, I just had to listen to what was going on. And I just remember, like, my nan probably being like proper spiritual about it. Like, she was like, "Is anybody there?" And then they were all doing it, and then everyone's going, "Oh God, are you doing that? Are you doing that? No, no, no!" And thingy, and then yeah, and I just remember everyone being like petrified for like for the rest of the night because they decided to do a séance, and you're like, "Why have you done that? You just fucking ruined everyone's life." Probably why we were haunted. Truth be told.
That's crazy.
Yeah. But, you know, my uncle taking full advantage, halfway through it decided to go BANG! Shout at the top of his lungs, and everyone screamed. Funny times. But yeah, like I was saying anyway, like in terms of spreading and growing the podcast as a general, I think we could do like genre days or genre weeks, where we just talk about a specific genre of film. I mean, like I said, I'm normally like a very wimp when it comes to horror films, but I am kind of warming up to them a lot more now. I'm getting used to them. I can kind of see things happening before they happen, so I'm not that scared anymore. It don't affect me like in my head as much, which is good. So I think that's definitely something we could do. We could do like a horror week.
I think that's a good idea.
Any other suggestions? Is there anything else anyone else wants to catch up on while we're live and kicking?
Joe, you got anything?
Is there anything anyone wants
Ellie,
to talk about?
you got any stories?
Jump on in here. Well, yeah, paranormal stories, mate. Drop them in. I'd love to hear them. I would absolutely love it. So, just chatting shit just to fill some time. What would you say is your favourite horror film of all time? Or what sticks out to you?
Really, The Conjuring.
Oh. Which one? Number 1?
I don't know number 2. I love number 2. I thought number 2 was a great film.
Remind me, like, number 1 is set. Is that the one that's set in Anfield? In England.
Number 2 is.
Oh, is that number 2?
Yeah.
Which one's number? It's number 1. I can't think which one it is.
I can't tell if number 2's number 1's the horror. No, it's not because they didn't kill each other. But
Oh, that won't right.
I don't know, because it might be.
Yeah, let me just do some quick Google. I can't, for some reason, I can't think which one the Conjuring is. Oh, they're in that big house, aren't they? Oh, it's Annabelle, isn't it? The Conjuring one.
No.
Or is it not?
No, the Conjuring ones.
Annabelle's in it though, isn't she?
Yeah.
They're purportedly real-life reports inspired by the Amityville horror story. One's consistent to the
Also,
parent family experience existing similar events in the farmhouse in Rhode Island. In 1971, Roger and Carolyn Perrin moved into a farmhouse in Harrisville, Rhode Island, with their 5 daughters. Their dog, blah, blah, blah. The dog Sadie refuses to enter the house, saying, "Mate, this is why dog is man's best friend, because mate, they've got our back." They're like, "Mate, what are you doing? There's some scary shit in here. Or what are you doing? You know what I mean? Like, what are you doing?" Hang on. Paranormal events occur within the first few nights. All of the clocks stop at exactly 3:07 a.m., which is obviously in like the witching hour. That's obviously a general thing, isn't it? That's when like spirits are at their strongest point in the day. Birds are flying into their windows, and Sadie is found dead in the backyard, which is obviously the dog. The dog's found dead. Shady. One night, Christine uncovers a malevolent spirit only she can see, prompting her to claim the spirit wants her family dead. Another night, Carolyn enters. Oh yeah, I remember this scene. This fucking frightened me. And then my partner used to fucking take the piss. Carolyn hears clapping in the hallway because they play a game of clapping. Like they have to. It's like Marco Polo, but they have to clap. When she goes to investigate, she becomes trapped in the basement by the spirit. At the same moment, Andrea is attacked in their bedroom by a spirit believed to be the one Christine encountered. So then Ed and Lorraine Warren are blah 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 thingy, who have recently investigated a possessed doll called Annabelle. Warren's agreed to take the case and conduct an initial investigation. Blah blah. The house requires an exorcism. I don't know. I can't for the life of me. I can't think what their demon looks like in this one. Ed and Ryan discover that the house once belonged to an accused witch named Bathsheba Sherman. I think that's it then. It's a woman. Yeah. And then Conjuring 2 is the Enfield one, which that one scared me as well, to be fair. That one was good. That's where it's like the old guy that's being controlled by that is it like she's like the woman in black, isn't she? Yeah. That's another good one. The Woman in Black, you watched that?
Woman in Black, yes, that was one of the first horror films I've seen in the pictures.
Yeah. With what's in Daniel Radcliffe.
Yeah, it was a scary fucking film.
Yeah. I made the mistake of watching that around a friend's house, and then I went to work the next day. I worked at Argus at the time, and they've got like I don't know how you call it, like the lighting's based on movement, and I was working the night shift. Obviously, that's standard. And upstairs, like upstairs of the warehouse above the shop, it was like a really long corridor, which no one rarely ever went. Very, 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 very rarely ever went.
Yeah.
But I was picking stock upstairs for like the next day's deliveries, and I was putting them on the conveyor belt to go down. And then obviously there's a scene in The Woman in Black where he's looking down a corridor and all the lights go off, 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 off. And obviously I looked down this corridor of the warehouse and the lighting turned itself off because there was no movement down there. So it just went boom, boom, boom. All the lights come off. I was like, I'm fucking out of here before something fucking comes down this corridor. And then I refused to do any work for the rest of the day. I was like, I'm not going upstairs anymore. I'm not doing it. So I'm not working up there on my own. It's not happening. Nope.
Oh my god.
That was frightening. Yeah, that's like I said, that's a level of paranoia that I get when I'm watching horror films. Like it's quite funny actually, because it's quite comical. Like films that aren't even necessarily like that scary. Like we went to the cinema to watch Halloween. Was it 2017, 2018 that came out? Like we went to watch it, and obviously it's Mike Myers killing a shitload of people, and I was that paranoid coming out the cinema that I could, in my head, I could physically see Mike Myers everywhere I looked. Like there was people standing in the bus stop, and I was like, "Fucking Mike Myers is there, mate. I'm not stopping." Like, but and I was convinced that someone was dressed up as Mike Myers waiting for us at the house because we had to go pick my daughter up from her nan's house, and I was convinced that someone was stood at the end of the garden dressed up as Mike Myers. I was convinced. No one could tell me otherwise. I was like, he's there. I see him. I even
That's
shouted at one point. I was like, "Fuck off, Michael."
that's one story I'll always remember you telling us. What you like.
Fucking hell. The worst thing, obviously, me saying I've got like a phobia of clowns. Yeah, like we went to Thorpe Park the once, with a couple of work friends when I worked at Argus, and it was Fright Fest. So generally, there's fucking people, actors walking around dressed as fucking zombies, whatever, running around scaring people, and they have like various different scary mazes, and me unknowingly agreed to go into this one maze, not knowing what was in there, and it was full of clowns. And honestly, when I say I nearly had a stroke, I think I nearly had a stroke. I was on edge the whole time. Like you got to the point where I just started shouting at everyone. Like we walked around this one corner, and obviously there was gonna be a jump scare. In the corner of my eye, I saw the guy dressed as a clown. I saw him, and I don't know why I got so cocky, and I was like, "I fuck it, I can see ya! Don't you dare jump out of there! I can see ya!" And he didn't. I just saw a massive grin on the bloke's face, and I was like, "Oh, thank God for that." But then you walked into the next room, and it's like you're just in a box, and there was this massive woman dressed as a clown. She had like a massive wooden hammer, and she was just banging it off the wall, off the floor, and everything, laughing crazy. And I was just like, F this, I'm gone. And I just ran. I ran towards it. I just charged. I was like, nah. And just ran right past that. I was like, I've got to get out of this building. I've got to get out of here. Like, my natural instincts just took over. And then, like, the last bit of the room, there was a guy stood there with a chainsaw. And I was like, oh, I know what's going to happen. I want to walk down this corridor. He's going to start chasing me. And, like, obviously, we got to start tiptoeing past him and walking. I'm like, yeah, you're right, mate. How you doing? Like, yeah, sound. Cheers, mate. I'll see you later. And walked down the whole way and just hear them start this chainsaw like bah, 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 bah. I'm like no, and I've gone. I've never ran so fast in my life. I was like no, see you later. And then like we walked out. You have to walk past the queue to go in. I'm telling everyone, I'm like, don't go in there. You're all mental. Don't go in there. But yeah, it's the level of mine. Some people saying like
Sounds like you've had
I've had some
bad experience.
experiences, mate. I've had some experience in my lifetime, and it's not fun. It's not fun at all.
Oh Lord.
So yeah, I think. Is there any stories you want to bring to the fore, mate? Have you got any stories?
I've got none personally.
Even any of you know of?
Uh, oh, do I know any stories?
To be fair, the last half hour of the podcast is just me chatting shit.
No, I generally don't think I have. It's this is going to be a weird one, right? I don't know if anyone ever gets this right, but it's not really a story. But every so often, and I could swear, right? It's a bit like the Truman Show. I feel like I'm in a bit of a simulator.
Mm.
Every so often, I get like like a blast of deja vu
Yeah.
where like I'd be in a certain situation and be like, and I'm so sure of it because like I get so stuck on it in my mind. I'm like, I've done this before,
Yeah.
and I
I know what you
always
mean.
tell myself, nah, I've not done this before. But every time deja vu happens with me, I'm so sure it's happened before.
Yeah.
So either I'm deed or I just get shit tons of deja vu because like certain things will happen, and I'm like I'm positive I've already done this before.
Yeah.
Um, but
Have,
yeah,
have you ever had like an out of body experience?
no, and you should never ever do that. So don't be stupid enough to do that.
No, I
Don't
mean like
ever.
I've had one before where I remember a certain situation that happened, a certain memory, but I remember it from a different aspect.
Mm,
Like weird as it says, right? I remember I was a kid. It was my first time. Like, my mum and dad signed me up to go to this football training. First time I'd ever done it, ever done anything. They dropped me off at this school. Played football for about half an hour, 45 minutes, and I remember seeing my mum come to pick me up. She was just stood at the end of the pitch. I don't know what came over me. I just instantly burst into tears and ran to my mum. But I don't remember it from my perspective. I remember it from being because I remember the coach called everyone into a huddle, and when he did that, I saw my mum and I just ran to my mum. I didn't go into the huddle, but from my perspective, in my memory, I'm sat in the huddle and I can physically see myself run across the field to my mum, but I'm not me, if you know what I mean. It's like
yeah,
I remember it from someone else's perspective, and it's tripped me out my whole life. I've had that memory since I was a little kid, and I don't know what I can't explain it. I cannot explain it properly. I don't know why I remember it that way, but it's literally vivid in my brain. I can remember it, but it's not my perspective, so I don't understand how I remember it in that way.
yeah.
It's so weird. It really is.
Well, if anyone's ever interested in what Mike has just said, that is known as astral projection, and it's something you should never undertake because it is extremely dangerous, in the words of demonologists and people like that. You should never undertake it properly. You should never try it. There was a film made about it, and I can't, for the love of God, remember what it was.
Hmm.
But it was a scary film, and astral astral projection is just something you should never get into. Like apparently, like because if you do it, this is the sort of thing that brings demons out. Apparently,
Yeah.
um, but yeah, don't ever try it. But I'd recommend people research astral projection because it is interesting. But
Hmm.
don't ever do it because
Yeah, like
it's
I
not.
said, it's like I'd never like attempt to do it, but it's just something that randomly happened one day, like to me, and that's I don't know how, but that's how I remember that situation happening. There
Yeah,
was another one, but I've kind of blocked that one out of my head. I can't remember what it is now. I can't remember what happened, but there was another one similar where I remember something, but from not from my perspective, but it it is. If you get me, like I can see like my hands in the memory, but I can see myself running across the field. It's strange. Matt is on hunt. He's like paranoid. Look, he's like
no, I'm not paranoid.
it's, it's the
I'm
hamsters.
not.
So I think that will probably be enough for today. And if there's nothing else anyone wants to talk about, or if there's no other anything Matty wants to bring up.
No, that's all for me. But like I say, everyone, I appreciate you all bearing with us. Because obviously we have been a bit off the podcast recently, but obviously I will take physically all the blame for it. I mean, I'm not going to take all the blame. I'm going to push it onto Odeon and say it's their fault. Obviously, as you know, cinema, as we've discussed, cinemas have reopened, and I've been in work a shit ton. I don't think I've worked as many hours as I have since I worked for Sky. I'm sure I've done about 30 odd hours last week. And I'm only meant to be on an 8-hour contract. So yeah, it's been absolutely chaotic. But honestly, I thank you all coming out. We've had some new people today. We've got Joker, which is a good friend of mine now, and we've got Kelly,
Yeah,
which
obviously
is a
I'm
good friend of mine now.
massively
Um,
appreciate anyone coming in to watch.
yeah,
Like I say, if you are new around here, you haven't listened, or you haven't seen any of our podcasts before, drop us a follow. We're live on here. We're meant to be every Sunday, but give or take. You can follow us. Our links down below. We've got a Facebook page which we update quite regularly. Our YouTube channel's down below, Matty. There. All the podcasts that we record every week live are then put on over onto our YouTube. So if you ever do miss one, they're all on there for you. We do have a Discord server as well. There should be a link on our Facebook page for that you can join. If not, just drop us a message on there and I can get you a new invite sorted for it.
yeah,
Basically everything we post on there will be put in the Discord, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, like I said, massively appreciate people following, people watching, wherever they may be. Like I said before, if you have any horror stories, any weird paranormal supernatural experiences, let us know, because like I said, they're interesting. We can read them out to people on our next stream. Yeah, it'll be a
dude,
nice little feature for us, to be fair.
yeah.
Horror time.
You
Paranormal
know it.
hour with
You know it.
me, Burbsy, and two Matty J. We shall talk in a quiet voice that will be quite haunting.
So,
It will be
so
quite weird. I'll talk really like this. And one day he walked up the stairs and there was a loud bang. What was it? Nobody
God,
knows.
sick.
Quite chilling. Yeah, but sound. We'll end it here. Thank you all for watching. Love you all. Peace.